PTF and JK back with you. Special presentation from In the Money Media on the audio, on the YouTube channel. We are talking about Monmouth's Pick Your Prize Day. This is a fantastic contest opportunity. There are so many prizes given out, so much participation year after year. You can play live at Monmouth Park. You can also play virtually. You get all the details about this Pick Your Prize contest if you go over to monmouthpark.com and navigate under the handicap and contest tag. Find all the info there. Brian Skirka runs the contest. You can reach out to him as well, or reach out to me. I'll put you right in touch with him. InTheMoneyPodcast.com and go to the contact page. We'll get you sorted out, because this is a contest you do not want to miss the opportunity to play in. JK, I know you've played in it before, and I know you respect this as a terrific opportunity. Lots of BC seats on the line, lots of cash. So even like you, if you're allergic to a certain tournament that takes place in Las Vegas, it's one that I'm sure is on your radar.
Yeah, no, Brian does an outstanding job. And like you said, it's a great opportunity. It's in that kind of mid-range dollar-wise too, right? I mean, I know some of the 5,000 contests can get a little bit rich for some folks. And so this one's a little bit more manageable. He's got a bunch of races that contests that lead into it. It's all Monmouth. And like you said, it gives the player a choice when you, by the name of it, you pick your prize at the end. There's a lot of great opportunities. So it's definitely one that I would consider for the best opportunity to get qualified for their contest.
B. Skirka at monmouthpark.com if you want to reach out to Brian directly, or once again, just go to monmouthpark.com and hit that handicap and contest tab and check out the whole array of stuff they have going on there. It's quite a lot. We're going to look at the last 5 races. Now, this is the kind of contest where, depending on where you're looking to go in the prize pool, you could be locked and loaded by race number 7 potentially. If you have 2.5x your bankroll, you're probably already in that prize pool. But this is where the rubber will really meet the road in terms of the top prizes, which are certainly worth shooting for. We kick off with a 6 furlong allowance race, Jonathan. 7 runners are heading postward in this spot. I think the conversation has to begin with Stucky, because this is the horse that's consistently run. I shouldn't say consistently, but multiple times run in the 80s on the Beyer scale on dirt. But can you trust Stucky off the last 2 runs? One, a rare poor dirt effort, and the other, a turf flop where he showed speed before going out like a light.
Yeah, he's got some back races for Dale. The question is, how is he going to handle the switch and the break, right? He's switching to Shogun here. The way I looked at this sequence as a whole, I kind of treated it as a pick 5. I thought that these first 4 legs you needed some coverage in here, because there was a lot of questions that needed to be answered. I have a single in the last leg. So 1, 2, 5 is what I saw here. I don't quite trust Stucky, but I wanted to make sure I had Bar Down Express, the 2 drawn right outside him. This horse has been running in back-to-back starter allowance races and has earned pretty nice figures. And the pace figure suggests that cut back to 6 furlongs shouldn't be a problem. So I'll go 1, 2, 5 to get started.
I'll throw in a couple of others behind Stucky, who I did make the top pick. 3 Grouch, I thought, was a logical one that might sneak off at a price. Second off a long break, looking at sectionals. Did do a little bit of running in the middle portion of that comebacker. Timeform had the Gulfstream dirt race a little bit faster than Beyer. Maybe an improver. Another one I'll mention, just because I noticed an anomaly, the 6 Riyadh Moon. This horse won wire to wire last time. Will not get the lead here, I wouldn't think. But Timeform US then also had as the best LP runner for a horse that ran wire to wire last time. You don't see that too often. I think this one could be a price. 1, 3, and 6 for me. 1, 2, 5 for JK to kick things off as we move to the featured race of the day. 3-year-olds competing in the Jersey Derby. Horse I like quite a bit in here was number 2, Outrunner. I thought was maybe interesting off that allowance run against Elders. Looked to me to maybe get a little bit lit up early by a bump, then was going for a hole that closed. Race came back fast on Beyer. But the thing I thought was interesting is, given that race was against Elders, this is actually a dropping class against restricted 3-year-old company. I wanted Outrunner on tickets. I thought Uncatalyzed, the 7 for Chad Brown, was obvious. I thought the 5 Dream On was too obvious to ignore with some of that grade 1 form. But I was going to call it 2 and 7 on the A line, 5 on the B line. What do you think of the feature?
Yeah, this one I thought I wanted to try to get lean in here with a horse like Dream On, who I think has gotten pretty good. But the 2 and the 7, the 2 you talked about, Outrunner, and the 7 made it harder for me to do that. I don't feel great about the spread in this spot. It's actually not the most equitable way to play this race, but I needed to have the 7. If you saw Chad Brown last week and he was on fire with the horses that he sent down there, or horses that have been down there that have been running, Chad will keep horses. Not this one, but he will keep horses at Monmouth, and they'll run just as well. So I needed 257 in here. It's kind of one of those hold your nose situations. I think the 2 just might not be good enough, but he could. He's going to be a nice enough price. Probably the longest of the 3, the 5, who I think is going to be good enough, but I don't quite trust the single, because what if the 2 jumps up or the 7 runs well? And the 7 is almost like a saver one, where like the horse is going to be over bet, but he could look like he jumped in at the quarter pole like a couple of Chads did last weekend. So I just have to kind of hold my nose here, 257.
Hold your nose. Hold your nose implies it's unpleasant. Hold your breath, I think is what I'm going to edit
No,
you.
it isn't.
You know,
It is unpleasant that you have to use the top 3 choices in a pick. It does.
That's
It
fair.
doesn't.
That's fair. That's a good way of looking at it. I use that one when it's a lower quality of competition, I guess is.
Oh,
But
I love those if I can single.
let's go to race number 9, an allowance race for fillies and mares on the dirt. There were 2 that stood out to me as ones I definitely want on my ticket, and then I definitely want maybe some more suggestions because I wasn't super confident. But the 4, it's good. What is this horse called? It's Good to Be Jose. The way I wrote down the name, I knew it wasn't right. It's Good to Be Jose. Does not have a ton of tactical speed, but I do think she has a little bit more than she was able to show in the last race. Just very logical on the numbers. And 1, Just Be You. Last race was off a forever layoff and basically just showed that she's still a horse at least. But I thought I had license to improve off that and numbers that fit. 4 and 1, but I wouldn't mind a couple more numbers. You mentioned you were spreading in the sequence of places. Is this one of those places?
Yeah, I mean, this helps me feel a little bit better about the sequence, right? The 3 is the morning line favorite. I'm not going to use the 3 Ruth. I'm going to use 1, 4, 5, and 8. The 5, when you see Jamie Ness, you have to give a little bit of credit. He wins at such a high percentage. But I also wanted to make sure I had the 1 and the 8. They both come from the Dan Ward barn. If you're not that familiar, Dan Ward obviously was a longtime assistant to Jerry Hollendorfer and was a pretty integral part of that operation. And he's had some success on his own as well, and a guy that I think is a real sharp horseman and spots his horses very well. So I wanted to make sure I had that coverage there, trying to beat the 3 Ruth. 1, 4, 5, 8 for me in race 9.
Excellent. I'll put them down in that order for you as we pivot to our 10th race of the day. One where we have another very cleverly named horse that's by McLean's Music. Now, do you understand all these musical puns that you get with these McLean's Music names, or does it just sail over your head?
Was it Levy Was Dry? Is that the one you're talking about?
That's the horse I'm talking about. That song you might even know.
I do know that song, but I don't know. What's the why do they do that?
Don McLean is the guy who, and granted, McLean and McLean's Music is spelled different than Don McLean's name, but that has not stopped a million horse owners from making American Pie puns. So Don McLean wrote American Pie, the recurring line, took my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. This is the horse that I like in this spot, JK. The Dam actually ran her second best figure on turf, and the McLean's Musics do well on turf. I think the horse will be forwardly placed. The lone turf run was against MSWs. It was 50-1 in there. You can easily excuse it. I like this horse. Now, I'm not sure on time form, Levy Was Dry is loose. I don't know if that's how it's going to play out. I think the algorithm might be overrating the fact that the 3-runner Shogun Be Fast, another funny name, has been running in route races. But this horse, the way that Shogun has been running in the races and the workouts, I think this horse also could potentially be the best speed. And that's the other one I want to include. I am hoping that the 3 and the 6 don't tee this up for something coming from off the pace. I was thinking maybe you could get out with those 2. Shogun running at a new low level as well. 6-3 for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to use 1, 2, 4, 6, but the 6 will be my top choice. And here's the reason. You pointed out a lot of the things about the pedigree. This horse debuted on grass for Al Stahl. Yeah, I think Al Stahl is a sharp trainer. He debuted the horse on grass. He obviously thought there was a little something there. Then eventually the horse just kind of found his way to the dirt. He spent the majority of his career on the dirt. But I will say this, he ran well enough from a figure standpoint the first time he ran on the grass, or the only time he ran on the grass. But the thing I like about him most is that in his first start in the Dan Ward barn, he ran his lifetime best race on the dirt, which means he's in really good form. And now Dan Ward decides, let's go back to the grass. He must think something about the grass with this horse or with the 5.5. I think he's going to take a major step forward, moving back to the grass. I can't single him. I wanted to have some other coverage, 1, 2, 4, 6, but I do have the 6 as a top choice in here. But I'll use the other ones on the A line as well because I don't quite trust the 6.
What about this Shogun Be Fast I mentioned? Are you afraid about that one potentially wiring him, or do you just think the layoff is too much of a concern?
Shogun Be Fast. A lot of this horse's tactical stuff has happened going a lot longer, 8.5, 9 furlongs. I just think he'll get run off his feet going the 5.5.
We'll see how it plays out. I was thinking it might be finally what this horse wants to do, given there were some good 6 furlong races on dirt back in the day. But it was a long, long time ago to complete another Don McLean pun. All right, I didn't do that on purpose, actually. Let's go to the nightcap. You already tipped your hand here that you have a single. I was going to tee this race up by saying that J.J. Valentin, the 3, is the figure horse and looks a likely winner and should get a perfect trip. But would you trust him with your pick the prize life? Pick your prize life on the line.
I don't know about that. That's tough. I mean, it depends on what position you're in. I mean, I definitely wouldn't have a problem building some stuff around him. Look, Jamie Ness wins a lot of races. Paco Lopez wins an astronomical amount of races at Monmouth. I think it's one of those chicken and egg things where he probably wins a lot of races because he gets the best horses, but he probably gets the best horses because he wins a lot of races. And I think that in a situation like this with a horse who's running for 16, who was in for 30 last time, starter allowance 2 races back, I just think he's probably a little bit better than these horses. And that's why I had no problem just leaning there. Horse ran well enough last time. I mean, it wasn't anything that you love, but he ran well enough. And I just feel like he's just kind of floating around where he should be. He was 5-2 last time, 7-2 the time before that, 9-2 before that. He keeps running well enough while not being overly bet. He runs where he's supposed to. And I think he's going to run where he's supposed to, which is going to be probably the favorite in here. And I think he'll finally get his picture taken. It's been a while.
He makes a ton of sense. I do want to come back to him as far as tournament strategy goes specifically. I'll mention one other in this race that I had written down as a B. That's the 7 Bolt de Plata. Has no speed. And that makes this horse kind of tough to endorse in the spot where the pace looks only even. But the angle that I just wanted to bring up, before this horse's second to last start, career line, 17 runs, 0 wins, 3 seconds for thirds. Now, in the last 2 runs, 2 starts, 1 win, 1 second by a nose. So almost a perfect 2 for 2. Absolutely, this is a tougher group. But also just got claimed by a trainer in Silvino Ramirez, who's 4 for 14 at the meet. This might be your form and condition horse alternative at what I was hoping would be a bigger price. I just saw the morning lines, 6-1 in the morning line. That would be just the price into the teeth of a JJ Valentin, but just another one I wanted to mention for people out there playing picks. Now, let's talk about pick your prize. Would you, if you were in a situation where you were trying to win or go close, get BC, we'll make this very realistic. You're not so worried, JK, about spots 9 through 30-ish that are going to pay in here. You want to get up there and get that Breeders' Cup betting challenge seat or or all the cash that goes with it. I mean, if you had to go all in on JJ Valentin, if you had to do some sort of Dutch win, would that be a way to go? Would you look back to maybe a double to try to make a serious push? If you weren't where you needed to be, how would you approach this last race and pick your price?
I mean, it's I'm not trying to dodge the question. It just really depends on where I'm at, where the leader's at, and where the apparent line around 6, 7, 8, 9th place is in the contest. I mean, if I'm sitting chilly and I'm on the lead, then there might be a way where I want to move the goalpost. I have a private number in my head that I always think about if I find myself forward of where people are targeting and then where I target instead of where they're targeting. Gotcha. I did that in the Kentucky Derby betting challenge, and it probably would have worked if it wasn't for the Formful Exacta. So to me, it's really just dependent. Now, if I'm sitting at $1,800, suddenly I'm trying to hit a cold Exacta here, or I'm trying to play doubles into this horse. Hopefully, or maybe
that feels like
maybe just whatever the circumstance is to kind of get you where you want. That's the beauty of these contests, though, is that you can make your opinion whatever you need it to be in order to do what it is you're trying to do. If that makes sense.
It does make sense. You have that goal in mind, and then you plot how to get there in the fewest moves. I mean, that's something Drew Coatney talks about all the times on these airwaves. And something Matt Miller has actually said that your aggression was a key shaper of his strategy from those big runs you had in the BCBC. We'll see who makes the big runs in this year's Monmouth Pick Your Prize contest. We'll be back next week to recap it all. Make sure you subscribe to the In the Money Players podcast. Make sure you also subscribe to the In the Money Media YouTube channel. We'll be back with much more stuff soon. May you win all your Monmouth Pick Your Prize photos.